she calls me. I'm her member advocate. It was just a phone call where I almost started crying, and it was just us talking. And it was, talking about my family, talking about her family, talking about her husband, talking about her kid, me talking about my kids, everything that they do. And sometimes that just makes our members' days better.
Yeah.
Sometimes
absolutely,
our members just need a vent and let go of things. And we're there no matter what.
Welcome to RBP from the Front Lines. My name is Stephanie Mohr, and alongside Bruce Hansen, we will be your hosts. These episodes of Claim Talk will be dedicated to giving our audience a behind-the-scenes look at our member experience. With each episode, we'll introduce you to real people solving real issues every day. Join us as we highlight frontline workers supporting our members on their journey through a network-free plan. What works, what doesn't, and what it takes to make these plans successful from their perspectives. Today, we're honored to welcome Kyle Mechem to the podcast. Throughout his tenure, Kyle has emanated exactly what we look for in a member advocate. Kyle, by nature, is a people's champ. He's a big guy with a big heart, and he's passionate for helping our members navigate the program.
I would say you're a real person, Kyle.
I would say that too.
Before we get into Kyle telling us about himself, I want to make sure we cover Slaughterhouse.
Yes.
So,
Slaughterhouse.
It's the time of year from September through November where Kyle is always wearing a biker's jacket, and we have advertisements for Slaughterhouse all around the Claim Doc office. So tell us what it is. I know you're involved with it.
Yep. So the Slaughterhouse is a haunted house attraction within the downtown area. We're actually in the heart of downtown in the middle.
Of Des Moines.
Yep.
In Des Moines.
And we run, I think this year we're running from the end of September all the way up to the 1st of November this year. But I'm a zone leader within the cart hall, and I manage everyone that's there so they can get bathroom breaks, water breaks, everything. And then, of course, I steer the crap out of it.
How often do you see people from Claim Doc there? Because you've asked me every year, you're like,
yes,
get the kids, don't bring the kids, whatever. I want you to come. And I don't trust you, Kyle. I know if you saw me, you would take full advantage of the situation.
What do you dress up as? What's the experience like?
So Claim Doc, we always have this costume contest every Halloween.
Yes.
You remember how I was dressed up last year?
That's a powerhouse.
Always the winner.
You remember the costume I had last year?
I think so, yeah.
With that mask and the overalls?
Okay.
That's my character.
Okay.
I came as my character last year.
Okay.
We've had 2 member advocates, actually, Robin and Charla, come last year.
Okay.
And they absolutely enjoyed it. And then actually Nicole Emma came 2 years ago. And the thing is if we know someone's going to be there that we know, we have a group chat on Facebook, and we've plastered their faces up on the group chat with their names.
This is why I don't go.
With their names.
But before we get off that topic, it leads directly into one of my favorite stories of all time here at Claim Doc. We do like to have a good time and enjoy ourselves. So this was probably 2 years ago. I gave Kyle, because of his passion for Halloween and his passion for the Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes had a game back in
2021, 2022.
Yes, the Bills, where they came back at the very end, like it was a back and forth at the very end, and
13 seconds left.
13 seconds left. Yeah, drove it down, and so they called him the Grim Reaper. And so then they came out with a bobblehead of Patrick Mahomes in a Grim Reaper outfit. And I was like, I have to get that for Kyle. So I got it for Kyle, gave it to him, prized possession on your desk, love it. And then one day he came in and it was gone. Where'd it go?
So I have a prank war going on with Levi, who's an account manager. It started when we first started here at Claim Doc, and we just love to play pranks. And then I came in one morning, and we both loved the show The Office. And he told me the episode, or the season of the episode, and told me, what happened in it. And I'm like, he put my stuff in the vending machine.
Oh my God.
I didn't know I thought it was someone else. I didn't know it was Levi. And then the everything connected in my mind. I was like, he's got the keys. Amy's gone. He did this. Like, it was funny. I was so much worried about clocking in because he took my mouse and put it in the vending machine also.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I just remember that. Somebody came in my office and said, Kyle's Mahomes bobblehead is in the vending machine. So I was like, don't break it. Take care of it. So, well, that's enough of my stories about you. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, I started here at Claim Doc back on July 8th, 2021. So it'll be 3 years and 2 months.
Seems like forever, Kyle.
It feels like forever. I'm just a family man. Love working here.
How did you end up here?
So my mom actually worked here, Beth Mechem, and I was working over at a security company, and I was working 24/7, like no joke, working holidays, missing my kid's birthday, like the nightmare job that everybody hates. And my mom goes, put an app in, see what happens. I have never worked health insurance in my life. I was around doctors and all that, so I knew exactly what everything was going for. So I put an app in, and I got the email, and I was like, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Did you have customer service
Oh,
experience?
plenty of customer service experience. I was a security officer for a long time. I worked at JCPenney's over here at Valley West Mall for a little while and worked at restaurants. And so I was interacting with people all the time.
Really relying on
The customer service.
Well, then Lori's training.
Yeah, I was really, I feel, so if I remember right, everybody that was in my training class had no health insurance experience at all.
Yeah.
So we were all starting from scratch.
Oh, that helps.
That helps.
Yeah.
It really helps.
Good deal.
Yeah. How did you feel like Lori's training program helped you develop? And not only Lori's training program, but the ongoing professional development that Claim Doc has available?
When we first started, she asked us if we were more PowerPoint or hands-on learners, and everybody said we're hands-on learners. Mm-hmm. And I think her asking that and then adapting to it and then helping us so we knew how to navigate everything helped tremendously with what we're doing. And then the training that we have,
Ongoing training
with that, plus you have the I forget what she calls it, but the new MAs are calling some of us
the
mock calls. The mock calls helps tremendously, because then you get some of those nerves out, but the nerves aren't quite out until you're on your fourth or fifth outbound call. Mm-hmm. And then that's when you start realizing, and that's when the Pandora box almost opens for you.
Good way to put it.
Yeah, that is. And I don't participate in them, but I think it's really cool that those engaged with the member advocate training and ongoing education, they bring you guys together in multiple groups weekly, and you guys sit together and you go over issues. You get educated on not just clients, but from a business perspective, what's going on. Does that resonate? Do you because for me, from an efficiency standpoint, I don't love it because we do it weekly. But we break it up into multiple large groups. But from your perspective, good thing.
It's a really good thing. It's valuable. I mean, it's necessary information that we didn't know. And sometimes I feel like if we're in a big group setting, people can ask those questions instead of just an email or Teams. You're face to face, and you can raise your hand and say, "I'm not quite understanding this," or "Wouldn't it be easier if we do A instead of B?"
Yep.
And I think those ideas helps everybody, because then it clicks and everybody's brain of, oh, okay, so if I do this, I can do this, and then they do it in their own way.
Yeah.
And that's the beautiful thing about customer service is you know the knowledge, but you can do it your way and still get the job done.
Yeah. And I think that's one of the foundational elements of our company and our entire organization is taking the feedback from everyone, listening to the people that are doing the work, getting their ideas on how to do it better, rather than people like me that can say, oh, I think you should do this. Well, I'm not the one doing the work. That sounds great, but what does it work like in reality?
Yeah, and everybody comes from all different walks of life. So your experience in security, somebody else's experience in another industry can help them solve problems in a different way, connect with members in a different way. So that's something we really value of you and the rest of our member advocates.
That is a great segue into account manager feedback on Kyle. So I asked some of the account managers and senior relationship managers to share some feedback on Kyle, good and bad.
Oh boy.
So here's what they had to say. I just pulled two of them. First one is Michelle. And Michelle said, one of my key clients has a member who has stated he appreciates that Kyle is a man's man. He appreciates that Kyle can take his gruff way of communicating without ever being offended. I met this member in person once, and he's a tough cookie. I'm just thankful that Kyle takes care of him. You have any idea who it is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, so sometimes he'll call me, and I'm either on a call or I'm way too busy to answer him, and then he'll call our the TPAs.
Yeah.
And then as soon as he comes on, I'll recognize the voice, and I'll go, "Hey, what's up?" So then we'll go through our thing. I was like, "I'm sorry, I didn't." And he'll go, "Nope, I understand it." And then we get right back into business.
Cool. The other one was from Amy, and she said, he really builds rapport with members. A client of mine in South Carolina has a member who treats Kyle like her grandson. She has shared her appreciation of Kyle with everyone from human resources to the brokers on the plan. There are over 900 members on the plan between the two different programs, and the brokers know Kyle by name. My only complaint about Kyle is trying to guard him in our 6-on-6 tournament.
Which is coming up.
Yeah, that is
Are you on a team?
I'm actually on the same team for the reigning
Defending champions.
Okay.
So we made
The
that
man in the
pact.
middle, Kyle Mechem.
I mean, we all made a pact saying if we won the championship, we have to do it next year together to defend it. And the account managers tried to swipe Levi from us, and I'm like, no, you can't
He's
do
a
that.
valuable player.
Yes, he is.
Are you playing on the account manager team?
No, not on the account manager team. I have another team.
Oh.
Surprise. The first year that I am playing.
I was going to say, you haven't played before.
I have not.
Well, we've been covering all the pleasantries and the fun stuff, but the purpose of the podcast is to really get into the challenges that members face and the problems. Let's not pretend like they're not running into issues when they don't have the network to rely on, and it's not the traditional program they're used to. There's friction, and that comes along with the program. And we want to talk a little bit about that and see if there's maybe a member situation that you've had to deal with that sticks in your mind in terms of, man, this is just tough. This is hard, and just a difficult time getting that person what they needed.
So I'm actually I had a member call in, and it wasn't a member, it was a lawyer. This just happened last month. So a lawyer calls in on behalf of the hospital and the member, okay?
Oh.
And the challenge is we can't go through this in training. What am I supposed to do, you know? And I'm like, okay. So then I was like, can I put you on hold? I immediately went over to Amy P. I was like,
Amy Pellergan, for
Amy
those keeping
Pellergan,
score
yeah.
at home.
And I would go, HIPAA, consent. Do we talk to lawyers? Do we not talk to lawyers? How do we do this here?
Yeah.
And she goes, well, we need to call the member. We need to have her give consent. And I'm like, the member doesn't like to answer her phone or answer emails. Like a week later, then I got the email or the phone call saying, yeah, you can talk to my lawyer. Yeah, you can talk to the hospital lawyer. I don't care.
And that's a tough part about working with members sometimes is the communication,
Yeah, the
right?
communication.
Getting a hold of them and trying to relay what you're trying to tell them or getting information from them. So, yeah.
It was just like every single time I would talk to the lawyer, I got the service coordinator, Heidi, on the case with me, and I'm like, I don't know what to do. I need some guidance. I don't know if I need to update the member, if I need to update the provider, and all it was an accident questionnaire form.
Oh.
And I forget who the TPA was, but all they wanted was an accident questionnaire form because they think it was an actual automobile accident, and that's why lawyers were getting into this. And I'm like, and then when the member was talking to me, she goes, everything's going through my lawyer. I don't even want to talk about this. And I'm like, but we need you to sign this.
Yeah.
You need to call the TPA, not your lawyer, to get this signed.
Yeah.
And she goes, well, I think my lawyer did all that. And I was like, but she didn't.
So how often do you deal with situations? Now, that's a unique case, and I think it's probably something you appreciate is the environment here of consultation. There's no segmentation of departments. If Kyle needs to go see the CEO about a question, you can go to Ben's office.
Yeah.
You can go to our chief legal officer, Amy, and you can bypass the other attorneys and provider relations and go straight to Amy. Be like, I think this is for you, a question for you, without jumping around through the different
Going through the hoops.
Yeah.
Just go. That's what the beautiful thing about Claim Doc is I can walk into your office and ask you a legitimate question of what's going on with this case, how do I handle this, and you'll help, or you'll find someone that is able to help.
Yeah, there's very little. What we say, you better not ever say that's not my job. Like if there's one thing we hate, it's anyone saying that's not my job. Now you can dig in and you can find out why they're asking you. Mm-hmm. And if they're not asking you for the right reasons, you can help redirect them.
You just don't say that's not my job.
You never hear that. Yeah. We really did want to shine a light on the challenges. That's an interesting.
Yeah, that was an interesting one.
Interesting one for sure. But we want to hit on some success stories of Kyle. So Steph and I each picked one to cover. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm not going to pretend that you get the number of compliments that Amanda gets.
She holds the record.
She does hold the record. I'm going to say that. She does hold the record.
But you're up there.
You get your fair share. And like we've said on other podcasts, just the whole idea that members would take time out of their day to recognize the work you do in the customer service world, it speaks volumes to the care and just the work that you put into taking care of them. So I'll start. I'll go with my first one here. And it's a two-parter.
Oh,
it's a two-parter. This one's Kim, and that's all I can share. But Kim said, he is the greatest on the planet, has made my journey with breast cancer so much better in every way. ! Kind, thoughtful, and understanding. Highlight of my day when he calls just to check on me. He deserves a raise. I shouldn't have read that. And so much more. That didn't happen. Goes above and beyond the call of duty. Everyone needs a Kyle.
That last part.
Everyone needs a Kyle.
Everyone needs a Kyle.
The people's champ. Everybody needs a Kyle. And along with those other two examples that people talked about. But that wasn't the end of it. So after Kim sent the message expressing her appreciation, we received a message from the nurse at the case management vendor that was also working with Kim. Mm-hmm. And this is what Heather had to say. A mutual member mentioned Kyle during my interaction with her. She spoke so highly of him and what all he had done to make her life during breast cancer diagnosis so much easier. From dealing with claims questions, EOBs, etc., which we all know can be the most stressful part of being ill, she was so thankful for Kyle. Not only did he answer her questions and relieve that unneeded burden of dealing with claims and EOBs, he was able to give her emotional support, and the two have become friends in the process. Thank you, Kyle, for taking care of our mutual member. I kind of wish all of our clients had ClaimDoc for this service now that I can see what you all provide. Smiley face. Thanks again, Heather. I think that's awesome. It is. It's incredible. I don't even need to say anything more about it. Her words speak for it.
The best thing about Kim is someday she'd struggle and she'd call me crying because she didn't know what to do or how to say anything. And
in terms of merging with our program, open access plan,
open access plan, me calling out to her providers, her not understanding that they said yes, but we need a contract for them. And with her getting the bills, and there's some days that she's just crying because she doesn't know if she's going to make it.
Yeah.
And then she calls me. I'm her member advocate. It was just a phone call where I almost started crying, and it was just us talking. And it was, talking about my family, talking about her family, talking about her husband, talking about her kid, me talking about my kids, everything that they do. And sometimes that just makes our members' days better.
Yeah.
Sometimes
absolutely
our members just need a vent and let go of things. And we're there no matter what. I mean, we have emails that they can email or call us. We have a direct line that they can leave voicemails on.
Yeah. And before I jump into my compliment from a member, I'd like to just kind of elaborate a little bit on what you said about reaching out to providers and maybe the challenges that may arise from that as well. So what do you find is the most challenging when you do have to connect with the provider on behalf of one of your members?
The one thing that I struggle with providers is them not answering their phones, leaving voicemails, sending emails, sending faxes, and then a month can go by, and you call the member, and you say, your provider is not answering me, and they go, well, that's funny because I just talked to him yesterday. I'm like, great. You want to call them back, make an appointment, tell them that we've been trying to contact them. And 9 times out of 10, it never fails. The provider then calls me directly after I get off the call with the member. Our patient just told us who you were, and we got your voicemails. We will absolutely submit.
And I think that's something else important to highlight, the fact that the members are talking to their physicians, right? The members and the physicians sometimes don't have the authority to approve new insurance plans. It's the people who we're trying to get to, like the insurance verification, billing managers, credentialing, whatever the department is called within that office. Yeah. But those are the people that are sometimes very difficult to get a hold of. So I just wanted to highlight that it's different
and then
departments.
And then jumping in there and needing to be that intermediary and not just leaving the member on their own to have those conversations. So the doctor is on board, the member thinks they're ready to go, and then the billing office doesn't know what's going on.
There's so much communication that needs to happen.
To explain it, you have to ride beside them and help them with those conversations.
And then on those types of situations, we always tell our members, call us.
Yes.
When you're there and you have a problem, call us. We will talk to them right then and there on your phone.
Absolutely. We definitely encourage that on the client side of things as well with our HR reps. If a member comes to you and they're asking you a question about their health plan, the first thing you say is, have you spoken to your Claim Doc member advocate?
Yeah.
And 9 times out of 10, they have it. And when they do call us, the issue is resolved. So that's why you guys are here.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So I'm going to jump into the feedback that I have here. So this is from Tammy. I also don't have much information other than that. Kyle has made navigating the process of finding physicians and electing new physicians a simple process. He is always prompt, professional, and helpful in answering questions and following up with inquiries. It is so nice to be able to interact with the person versus a computer or an auto-generated system. I can't say enough good things about my experience with ClaimDoc at this time because of his assistance. So that's also wonderful. Just, again, simple characteristics that really define what a good member advocate is, right? The consistency, the follow-up, the taking care of your member and giving them that warm, fuzzy feeling that they're being supported behind the scenes.
And the best part is I had a member who also had cancer, brain aneurysms, everything. She was part of the clients down in Georgia, the sheriff's department, justice systems, all them. And I remember Michelle coming back after coming out of that meeting, and everybody had their backs towards her and all that. And my member, Monica, is the only member that stood up and says, well, I have a member advocate. His name's Kyle. Everybody needs Kyle. Yeah. And she said that in the meeting, and I almost started crying. I'm like, she did not do that. And Michelle's like, she absolutely
shout out.
That's so cool.
I love it.
Well, a big piece of this that helps us overcome the challenges is our proactive provider outreach, our Paving the Way program. And if you look at your role in terms of helping members, from what we see on the statistics in terms of smoothing out access and getting participation, probably 9 out of 10 times it's a positive experience for the member just in terms of their entire journey through our program. Can you imagine what it would be like if we didn't have proactive provider outreach?
It would be a nightmare.
And you're dealing with, what would your calls look like? So we say 9 out of 10, it's a really challenging situation. And maybe you don't have the best answer for that person, 9 out of 10, and it's still a really hard job every day. What do you think that percentage would be without Pave the Way and proactive provider outreach? And how would you enjoy this role?
So we get those still to this day where the members don't call us at all, and they just automatically go to their providers. The provider calls into the inbound line, and they go, what's this insurance? And you're like, I need a little bit more detail. What's the patient's name? And then we go through all the HIPAA stuff, and then it goes, seriously, what is this insurance? We've never heard of this insurance. I'm like, oh, okay, so-and-so has this insurance. It's an open access plan, and then I just go through my spiel. And it's what we call backwards Pave the Way. But then it gets to the point where it's, hey, will you submit and accept the reimbursement? And they go, well, I don't know. I got to talk to my person above me. I don't know. And that's like, great. Now we got more. So then you have to send that over to our P&F team and get that done so we can assign that to a member.
And all the time the member is sitting there in limbo. So a reactive and backwards leaves the member with those difficult feelings of,
why is my insurance not working?
Yeah, why is my insurance? And so those backwards, we're able to step in and solve those problems. But that leaves those members with typically not as good a taste in their mouth of the program.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm probably supposed to say something right now if I had to guess. So we've covered the success stories. We've covered Pave the Way. I think we've accomplished what we've wanted to in terms of why we put this series of podcasts together and why we want to bring the member experience to the forefront. There's always going to be friction in a plan that is open access without a network. But what we want to elevate is the conversations around not just that pain exists, but how you can solve that pain. And I think we did that talking to Kyle today. We're really proud of our member advocates like Kyle, and we're proud of the experience that we're able to deliver to our members because of Kyle.
Yeah, so I want to thank you, Kyle, for being on the podcast today, and I want to thank our audience for joining us for another episode of Claim Doc RBP from the Front Lines. Please remember to like, subscribe, and share.
Smash that like button, right, Kyle?
Yeah.
What podcasters say?
Smash that like button. I don't know. I don't do that.